Are we live?
That was weird. I swear, I don't like this talk studio that much because it always messes stuff up. Well, anyways, hello everybody. Welcome to Talking Nerds again, number 57. And it's back to the basics today. Back to the Biggies and the Buffaloes.
Couple of basic bros.
Yeah, the Flash, of course, will be flying in at some point. But no Bluey tonight, so this is going to be a poorly run show. But welcome back. We saw Deadpool and Wolverine last weekend, and it was pretty decent, actually. It was good.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. We got some San Diego Comic-Con announcements, lots to talk about there. And that's about it. But we'll be off next week and back in hopefully 2 weeks, possibly, to talk about. Well, we'll find out because the House of the Dragon is gonna be done. The Caped Crusader is gonna be out, and then we got at the end of the month we have Rings of Power. We have Rings of Power is at the end of the month. Then we have let's see, what is it again? The Penguin is coming out in September sometime, which seems like it's going to be a pretty dull show, but we'll see. And then we also have Agatha All Along. How could I forget? All Along. To follow up Deadpool in the MCU, we have Agatha All Along. How about that? Didn't save the MCU.
Had a little blip of hope, but we're back to the regular scheduled
program. Yeah. Evening, the Morning Mayhem.
Hello.
Morning Mayhem. I feel like I had to say the every time. Yeah, welcome, good sir. But yeah, so lots to look forward to ish this year. The rest of this year, we have Arcane as well, so that'll probably be a fun one. And various things that we kind of in our backlog that we need to talk about, like One Piece, we got to get to eventually. That'll probably be a video, kind of like, well, you guys don't really know because I haven't released them yet, but the Rebel Moon stuff. And yeah, random assortment of other stuff that we should we'll go over eventually. So with that, let's get into our weeks. What have you been up to?
Well, as you mentioned, we saw Deadpool and Wolverine. That was Friday night, right? Yeah, Friday night. We saw that. Yeah. Saturday, we watched Blade. Biggie came over. We watched Blade. That was the first time I had seen that. It was about time after seeing his cameo.
Spoilers, but
yeah, spoilers. I didn't say where, but yeah.
In something recently, there was a cameo from Blade.
Yeah. So it was good. It gave me a lot of Underworld vibes, just probably just because of the vampire stuff. But
Underworld came out.
Yeah. And what?
2003.
Else?
So that was actually after Blade. So
okay. Yeah. What else did we do? Oh yeah. I also on Sunday I watched the new Godzilla Kong movie.
How was that?
Oh, it was rough. It was pretty bad. Each movie progressively gets worse.
Everything has to have like an anti version of the main protagonist because it's an anti Godzilla and an anti Kong, right? Essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so dumb.
It's like we had Godzilla versus Kong, and now we have Godzilla and Kong versus anti-Godzilla and Kong. Yeah.
Yeah. I had it on my watch list on Max, and then I was like, why? Why do I need to watch this? I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to watch it just to see what it was about, and it was right where I thought it would be.
You know, the Godzilla -1 in black and white, essentially noir, is coming to Max pretty soon.
Okay.
So it'll be like authentic Japanese Godzilla. So I'm gonna watch that. You know what? We should watch that at Trevor's in his theater.
Right.
We should see. I'm sure he'd be down to do that. But
Oh, yeah.
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 The only Kong movie I like is Peter Jackson's Kong. It's not a critically acclaimed film or anything, but I like it. It's a bit too long, but it's fun.
Yeah. It's
And
nostalgic too.
yeah, 1998 Godzilla, terrible rendition of Godzilla, but a classic nonetheless. Matthew
Yeah.
Broderick, you're going the wrong way.
That's his name. I couldn't remember his name, but yeah, that's a classic.
Ferris Bueller.
Right.
And who's that French guy who's in a lot of things, but he's in the league of actors that are in everything, and you have no idea what their name is.
Yeah. Is he in Air Force One? I forget. No, not Air Force One.
No, I don't believe so. You know what?
Yeah.
Let's just look at. We'll do it live.
He's in that new My Penguin Friend movie. He's the main character.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was watching that, and I'm like, there's gonna be like an orca whale at some point, and that's gonna be the villain of the movie, and it's gonna be a close call. But the penguin's gonna survive.
Or like a sea lion, maybe.
This is his name. Never would have guessed it. Jean Reno. Jean Reno.
Is he actually French?
Yes.
No, he actually is French because he's a French guy in Godzilla.
Yeah. He's in the Pink Panther. Oh, he's in Mission Impossible, the first one.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember now. I remember.
Oh, you call this coffee? It's a French roast.
Yeah. Da Vinci Code.
Oh yeah.
Flushed Away. He's in Flushed Away, I guess. He's a voice actor in that. Huh. Yeah.
So did that. Watched more Attack on Titan, and also we played some It Takes Two. That was a fun game.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, it was a pretty packed entertainment weekend.
Nice. Cool. I have been playing a little bit of Elden Ring here and there. Again, kind of over it, so I'm just trying to finish up the DLC. I'm so over it that I have been skipping entire areas because I know that there's nothing to do in those areas because it's all just a bunch of vast areas with nothing to do in them. So I'm on the final boss. What's Prime Consort Radon, something like that. Basically OP Radon, if you know Elden Ring. And yeah, he kicked my butt right away, but I'm gonna beat him, and then I'm gonna be done with Elden Ring for a long time because it's kind of getting old. But
too much of a good thing.
Well, it was good before the DLC came out. I probably would have kept playing, but now I'm just kind of like, I'm done. I'm all Elden Ringed out. But I got God of War. I got to finish up. And then as soon as I do that, well, September 19th is when Ragnarok, the sequel to that, comes out on PC. So plus the DLC Valhalla. So I will be playing those. I got Ghost of Tsushima. I got to actually beat Dark Souls. I've never actually beat Dark Souls. So I got to do that. And then I'm going to dive into BioShock finally. BioShock 1 and 2.
Is that the only game that I've played before you?
Probably. Well, I mean, I'm sure there are others. Like Age of Empire you played way before me.
Yeah.
Probably Battlefront, actually. You probably played that way before me.
I played that in college.
At least the newer one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I plan on playing the 2005 one eventually. But yeah, I have a whole list. You know what? Let's just bring it up because why not? You see our show notes. This is what a nerd's notes look like, guys. So I got so God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Dark Souls, BioShock, Dark Souls 2, which I know sucks, but you know what? It's got to be played eventually. Then I'm going through the Fallouts, Fallout 3 in New Vegas at least, Sekiro. I got to finish up Arkham Asylum. That I guess you actually beat that game?
No, I'm like maybe 25%, maybe.
Morning Mayhem. I have barely any notes for the show itself. These are all my personal notes. This is how nerdy I am. But I am not prepared enough for the show to have in-depth notes.
Priorities.
Yeah. But this has been built over time, you know. Then Arkham Knight. I already beat Arkham City, so I'm gonna play Arkham Knight, Neo 2. I gotta play Witcher 1 and 2. I've never actually played those. Then Thymesia, which is another Souls-like. Then, well, I have Batman Arkham Origins in this. Then I'm going through a bunch of Star Wars games because why not? But we'll see. It could change by then. And then
you might want to split those up.
This is like my overall list, so this is going to take a long time to get through. But the order will change a lot, but at least up until 9 is probably for sure happening in this order. So, but yeah, so we'll get to those eventually. But anyways, yeah. So God of War, or not God of War. I've been playing Elden Ring and then watching Doctor Who. I actually just paused an episode to jump on this stream. I'm on season 6 now. And it was the first episode is the episode where he gets killed by an astronaut. So it's confusing and weird. So we'll see. Obviously he doesn't die because obvious reasons, but
because he becomes a woman later.
Yes. Well, and a gay black man as well. Don't forget
that. Right.
But yeah, it's sometimes I'm like, they do things so weird. Like the acting is kind of weird and like over the top, but usually it has a pretty good reasoning. Because like the end of season 5 was fantastic. The whole arc with the time, you know, the hole in the wall or the rip in time and all that stuff, I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't as like sinister as I thought it would be. You know, I thought there'd be kind of like something bigger than just the the TARDIS blew up, you know, but it was cool still. Nonetheless, it was well done. The Christmas episode was good. And I did like Amy and Rory's wedding. That was nice. Then he comes back. The whole something new, something blue stuff. You know, it's cute and pulled the heartstrings a bit. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, she's back to being you know, all over the doctor. She's like, you may now kiss the bride. It's like, what the frick? But yeah. So
I forgot that I think I'm 5 or 6 episodes into season 6. So you're about to catch up to where I am.
Because I've never watched Passer?
No, I have, but we went back through it and then we
got it.
Took a pause and we actually just watched an episode a couple of days ago too.
There you go. So we can get on track with each other. Have you watched all of Capaldi then?
No. I think half of Capaldi I've watched.
I do plan on watching all of his. So up until was that season 12 is his last season, I think. So, which is ironic.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, because it was 5, 6, 7. No, sorry, 5, 6, 7. It's through
8,
10.
9, 10.
Yeah, 8, 9, and 10 are his. So that is kind of ironic, though. They finally caught up. The 13th Doctor is what's her face, and that's goes through season 13. Then,
yeah,
yeah. Anyways, I won't be watching after that. Have you ever considered watching the original Doctor Who?
I've considered it, but I don't know.
Yeah. That's a big.
Yeah, I don't know. It is a big commitment. And
I'd probably
I'd rather catch up on other stuff, but
yeah, I'll probably watch it eventually. But
yeah.
yeah, I plan on, other than like all the shows that are coming out currently and sequel shows, all that stuff. The next show I plan on watching or starting is Star Trek, the original series, and that's 3 seasons, so that's pretty doable. And maybe I'll watch The Next Generation after that.
Yeah.
I have a whole list for TV shows too. And Buffy the Vampire Slayer I plan on getting to eventually. So, yeah. I've never seen a single episode of Doctor Who. I know there's a huge fan base, but I've never checked it out. Dude, it's probably the biggest fandom of all time, just because of how the longevity of it. I mean, basically all of Britain are Doctor Who fans, at least, good Doctor Who. I'd say it's up there with Star Trek in terms of TV show. I mean, Star Wars is probably the biggest fandom, maybe. But Doctor Who probably beats out Star Trek, maybe. I don't know. It's up there. It's at least in the top 3. It's huge. So, but it's good. I really like it. I mean, I recommend watching the new Who stuff that I've been watching. That's like that started up in 2009, I believe, something like, or actually probably even earlier than that, 2006 maybe.
Yeah.
With what's his name? David Eccleston? Is it David Eccleston or something?
Chris
Eccleston. So that's all on HBO Max if you have Max. I recommend watching him, David Tennant, Matt Smith, and then Capaldi, Peter Capaldi. So yeah, Peter Capaldi, I heard, is where it kind of goes downhill, but I heard it's still pretty good. There's good bad episodes, but there's still good episodes in it. And then it just DEI, like the worst DEI you'll ever see in anything, any IP is Doctor Who. It just got awful. So
he has his moments. Peter Capaldi, he's just kind of dull and boring.
Yeah.
When you just got
serious,
off,
right?
Yeah, he's very serious. When you just got off of a really
whimsical,
Matt Smith, who's all over the place.
Yeah,
it's hard to follow up him.
Yep.
You might like David Tennant better, but Matt Smith kept the bar high after picking up the
match. Yeah, he did a good job of picking it up afterwards. Yeah. I still like Tennant better. It felt, I can't really say like this feels like Doctor Who because I've never watched the original Doctor Who, but that felt like Doctor Who more so than this current or than the Matt Smith stuff. But I mean, yeah, it's different. It's different. But I'm definitely a fan of Matt Smith, especially with watching this and House of the Dragon at the same time. I'm all in. I'm on Matt Smith right now. He's great. He's a great actor. And man, oh man, the last Hot D episode with like the stuff with Damon is so good. It's so good. A lot of people are, I can't spoil it, but a lot of people are, you've watched what, first 2 episodes?
3
episodes. So you know that he's at Harrenhal.
Yeah.
He's still at Harrenhal, by the way. A lot of people are complaining about that. They're saying it's like all boring, but it's like very important character development for him. And it's very well done. So I like how it's going. But yeah, so Hot D is done on Sunday, so that'll be the finale. And then we have to wait 2 more years. At least. Or at most, I should say. Hopefully it's not even that. But it's so good. It's so good. And yeah, other than that, yeah, watch Deadpool. I don't think I've done really anything else. I started watching Conan the Barbarian. Which is great, I've heard, but I was so tired I had to stop. But so eventually I'll get back into that. But yeah, I have a Steam Deck now, so I can play games on the go. So I'll be playing more games probably than anything else. Yeah, anyways, so let's get into some some Deadpool reviews. These will be spoilers because Bluey and Flash are not here, so we can spoil it. So if you haven't seen Deadpool, Morning Mayhem, you may not want to listen. But if you don't care, we'll spoil it anyways. Yeah, so I liked it a lot. I gave it a 7.5 originally. I'd probably give it a 7. Now that I thought about it more, I kind of want to see it again just to get more perspective. There are so many Easter eggs too that it's like you. All right, have a good one, man. Thanks for tuning in.
See you.
Yeah, there's so many Easter eggs. It's hard to pay attention to what's happening in the movie while also like seeing everything. But realistically, there's not much to this plot. It's pretty simple and it's not necessarily great, but it's fun, Again, it doesn't save the MCU, but it's fun. It's fun watch.
Yeah. It was a movie for the jokes and for the characters, not for the story.
Yeah, it's Deadpool still. It feels a lot like the first two. I mean, Ryan Reynolds was fantastic as always, but Hugh Jackman was Wolverine is still got it. He was the best part of the movie easily. When he pulled the mask on, that was brilliant. That was great. Like that was a good mask. Like I hate all the stupid CGI masks, but that was a good mask. I like that I like the white eyes. Like I feel like every superhero should have them. It's a superhero costume. Of course, it's gonna look super comic booky. It's supposed to look that way.
Yeah.
So
and I love the two Batman. Looks like the two Batmen kissing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like. That was one of the biggest grudges with most of the Batman suits I've had with most of the Batman suits, but that's why I really liked. Well, I shouldn't say. I really liked Ben Affleck's Batsuit. It didn't, of course, have the eyes, but sometimes he did, and it looked really great when he did. He had like the things that came over, so he had a great suit, and it looked like I just want comic book accurate, So that was great. I like that the mask, and when like they jump over and he's got the claws out, and he's doing the classic Wolverine. That was great. That was really cool.
Yeah.
They lingered a little too long on that. It looked pretty bad. Like after a while, like looked pretty rubbery, CGI, but it looked cool still. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would give it either a 6.5 or a 7, I think, out of 10. I think it was really funny and it was very refreshing for Marvel and everything that we've seen. Yeah.
He recreated. Did you see this? He recreated the meme.
Did not. That's good.
And it was like #1 movie or something, and then there was this one.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, breaking the fourth wall, that's always funny. And it's like at this point,
yeah,
it makes sense that you have to break the fourth wall just because of the direction that they're taking all of Marvel, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So it was really funny, refreshing. It was awesome to see the two characters together. They play off each other really well. One's the super dopey idiot, always cracking jokes. One's the very serious, angry, and just the dichotomy of the two. It was good.
That's the thing about Deadpool too, is he's not. I mean, I like the Deadpool movies, but he's not a great solo character. He does really well with other characters,
Right.
Like in the comics, he's very good with Spider-Man, and of course Wolverine. But his own comics, he's not great. So he's very good at doing the buddy cop thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, I think what was just what I didn't like was it did feel very sacrilegious at a lot of points. They called God a she. It's like, okay, come on.
Well, yeah. I mean that is I agree with you, but that's also like the whatever Ariana Grande thing, God is what, that stupid song,
I don't know.
I agree, but they also the point of that comedy is taking stabs at both sides, you know.
They are. Yeah, they
But
really did.
and it's offensive, but that's kind of how comedy is, you know. It like
I
I do
agree.
take offense at those things, but at least they're treating everything the same way, you know.
True. Yeah, and I mean, I think like if they make fun of me for being a conservative, that's one thing. When you bring in God, I think that's okay. You're going a little far, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, of course they did the whole he's Marvel Jesus thing,
Oh
which
yeah,
he's saving the Marvel universe, which he didn't. So it doesn't, you know, it's just a meme.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, they definitely it's not over the top, but he did take it. He did keep saying it, you know, a lot. So it was kind
yeah,
of kept getting pushed, which, you know, it's too much. But
yeah.
yeah, no, for sure.
But he did make a funny joke about like, oh man, the woke mob's gonna hate this when they
Yeah,
showed it.
they said retarded.
Yeah, it's like
uh
what?
well, spoilers. So Blade shows up and we'll get to that scene, but basically he said, I thought you were retired, I think he said, right? Deadpool. And he's like,
Yeah,
retarded. He's like, no, 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 no. I didn't say that. You know, the woke mob will come after me. I
right.
think that was that scene. I don't know if that was, or he said they'll cancel me or something like
Yeah,
that.
right, right. He's like, I can't get canceled again or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah. So, but I liked that. That was funny.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So, I mean, basically, I guess we'll just kind of go through it. Um, the opening is the TVA, which gosh, they were the worst part of this movie. Freaking Black Girl Magic TVA girl showed up, and it's like I don't know if people were people clapping in ours. Maybe
I
some
don't
cheers, and it's like who's cheering for this? Like she was awful in Loki. Nobody
Yeah.
likes it. Yeah, that was just dumb. But I did like that. Well, basically, Deadpool gets taken by the TVA. The opening shot, though, is him fighting. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he finds Wolverine's, Logan's remains from the Logan movie. He kind of talks about like respecting the dead, and he's like, but that's not this movie. And he takes his skeleton out, which is made out of adamantium. And he starts like talking to it and is like playing with it. Then the TVA shows up and is like trying to take him, and then he fights the TVA and basically kills everybody. But he does it with Logan's bones, which is so funny. Like he even puts like the claws on and stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
That was a good scene. It was basically a copy of when in the was that the first or the second movie when he's doing everything on the bridge?
yeah, kinda, I mean yeah, he does all those slow-mo fight shots, which are
Right.
kind of overdone, I think, but
Yeah.
um yeah, it was fun. I hated the whole TikTok dance thing though. That was so stupid. Like the
I haven't
entire thing, he
seen
was dancing to "Bye Bye Bye," you know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was
I
doing
didn't
the
really
TikTok dances, and it's like,
Oh.
oh, it's
So
stupid.
that's how uncultured I guess I am.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know anything about TikTok, so I didn't even know that was a TikTok dance.
well, you're saved, I guess. Um, but yeah, so that I was like, okay, this is stupid, but he did a lot of Gen Z jokes actually throughout the entire thing, which
Mm,
was kind of weird, but whatever. Um, yeah, so oh yeah, so the thing I liked about that scene, other than like it was funny with the bones, but he just seeing all the TVA agents get slaughtered was
yes.
fantastic.
It's like, oh, thank goodness.
It's like justice for Loki, you know, how bad that show was. Um, but yeah, there was the boner thing. That was funny. I laughed out loud.
Oh my gosh,
Uh,
slow motion, just
yeah, so she knocks the guy's pelvis with a bone, and then you just see him stroking it.
jeez.
Um,
Oh, man.
yeah, so that was funny, but that was kind of like a flash forward scene essentially, and then we kind of go back, and he's having I think it's his birthday party, and
Yeah.
it's Peter Pool from Deadpool 2. The stupid character guy with the mustache. Um, so yeah, so they have a birthday party essentially, and Vanessa, I guess, and him broke up, which I don't really remember that happening.
I don't think it did happen. I think it happened in the third movie, I thought.
So it happened at some point in between this and the last one.
2 and 3, yeah.
But basically, the TVA show up and they take him. But they're like talking. They're like do random like dinner montage, like everyone's talking, and it pans to him and is like, and that's my stance on Palestine, the conflict with Palestine and Israel. That was so
He
funny.
listed a few other things, didn't he?
Something like that, yeah. But it basically was like he just got to the very end of the
Right.
conversation. So it's
Right.
funny. Yeah. So a bunch of jokes, bunch of Deadpool stuff. But it kind of got serious. It was like a new tone for Deadpool, where he loves his friends and family, and those are like the most important people to him, and or the X-Force, And so then the TVA takes him, and they're talking to him. And there's this new British TVA guy who's supposed to be classic white villain dude, British villain guy, and basically he told him that he needs to which they introduced a new concept into the MCU, which is retarded.
Yeah.
This whole idea of an anchor being,
Yeah.
I guess, in each universe has an anchor being, which is the most important being in the universe. It's like, okay, what the frick is this?
So
How
many
does the universe decide that? It's like, this is literally the meme, main character energy, and we're all just, everyone else is NPCs. That is literally what the MCU is now. There's a main character, and if the main character dies, then that universe dies. Which is like, how does it decide that? What happened before that person existed? And then the world just ends, the universe just ends. I would argue then that Iron Man was the anchor being of the main Marvel MCU universe, So what happens now? Is that going away? Because he's
No, it's gonna be Captain Marvel is the anchor
I
being.
was gonna say something like, or Monica Rambeau or something stupid like that.
Is that She-Hulk? I forget. Or no, She-Hulk, whatever her name is.
Oh gosh, yeah, She-Hulk.
But the problem is, it's like, okay,
Echo is the anchor being.
like, I think you already said this, but like, yeah, what happens before that person was born? It's like, or what happens after that being just ages and dies? It's like,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense mechanically at all.
Does it pick a new anchor being? And if that's the case, when Logan died, it should have just picked a new anchor being.
Right. But yeah, so anyways, so they introduced concept. Basically, Logan was the anchor being of the X-Men Fox universe. And so when he died, that universe died. And so Deadpool, it was funny. At first, Deadpool thought he was the anchor being, like, oh, you're not the anchor being. Logan is. And so he steals the whatever you call it, the tablet. Yeah, the
temp pad or something.
Temp pad, whatever. And it was funny. I don't know if it was that part. Was it that part where they showed the time machine, the machine thing that eventually comes into play later in the movie?
Right.
But I loved it. He's like, "What's that MacGuffin?" That was so good. There's always some stupid MacGuffin in every movie now, like the most important thing that does everything. And it's the item that everyone's after. And it's like, he just basically called it, "What's that MacGuffin?" So that was pretty funny. This movie had a lot of great jokes. I was laughing a lot. But basically he steals a temp pad, and he's got to find a Wolverine to replace this Logan because he doesn't want his world being erased. But basically what they decided was, okay, no, you're not the anchor being, but we can bring you to the main MCU and you can have a new life. You can actually have meaning, as Deadpool. And that was kind of interesting because it gave me a little bit nostalgia for the MCU. They were showing all these different clips, and it's like, yeah, you notice they're not showing anything new from Phase 4 or Phase 5 in there.
True.
All Avengers moments. Man, I kind of want to rewatch the MCU now. At least the Infinity Saga.
Right.
So
where's the Deadpool in that universe is the question, though.
Yeah, well, I guess he doesn't exist then, technically, because Venom didn't exist. Like there are characters that I guess that don't exist. Obviously, it's all plot armor,
Right.
because realistically they would probably exist in every universe, but they're just because they don't exist cinematically,
Yeah.
I
mean, I guess if his parents weren't born because of some event, then I guess he wouldn't have been born. But
right. I heard somebody saying though, there was this meme, this argument going around on Twitter, and it was like, if you kill or like the death of Tony Stark, we'll get to that later, but basically, death of Tony Stark and the death of Logan have no meaning now, and it's like comic book rule number 1. Nobody stays dead except for Uncle Ben. So you can forget about that. Which is true. It's fair. It doesn't mean that those deaths didn't have meaning. It just means you bring them back, which I'm totally fine with because, they're the good characters in the cinematic universe.
He was the anchor being of the MCU.
Right. Well, Iron Man was, but
yeah.
Well, yeah. Hugh Jackman will always be the only Wolverine for a while, except there was a little cameo. So basically, he steals a temp pad and he starts going to all these different universes trying to find a Wolverine. And there were a lot of great ones, lots and lots of Easter eggs. But some of the highlights were comic book accurate Wolverine, super duper short. He's like sitting on a stool. He jumps up and he's like still the same height. That was pretty funny.
That was good.
I really like that one. There was Wolverine that was super shredded, and like you see the back of him. He's working on a bike, and he turns around. And it's Henry Cavill. They got literally Henry Cavill to play Wolverine. It's like
so good.
He's like, he said something like, we'll treat you better than the guys down the road or something. Basically, a dig at DC. But he looked great as Wolverine. I kind of can't unsee it now. Like I want him as Wolverine now, which is funny. Everyone's like Daniel Radcliffe. Like Daniel Radcliffe, he just kind of he's all he's got going for him is the height. That's it. And who cares about the height? Realistically, I'd rather have a cool Wolverine, and I think Henry Cavill would do that very well.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised. I'm kind of surprised he said yes to that, but he's a big nerd, so and he did very well. He acted his heart out in that very brief moment. Yeah. So that was one of my favorite parts. I did kind of did the whale clap a little bit. Not the only time I did. But so I enjoyed that. Then they showed a bunch of other Wolverines. They showed the Wolverine from what is it? Age of Apocalypse. There was a bunch of comic book ones. So there was one where he had his arm cut off. That's from the comics. There's one where it's basically a mountain of skulls, and he's like basically crucified on a giant X. That is a very famous X-Men comic book cover art. So it's just a homage to that. So that was cool. There was, what else was there? I'm trying to remember now.
I forget. Those were the two that I remember the most, or the three.
Yeah. Those are kind of the highlights, though, at least for me. I'd have to rewatch it again to see some of the other ones. But yeah, so that was a fun little side thing they did there. And then he finds the Wolverine that's in this movie, who is basically from a universe where everybody hates Wolverine because he for reasons we find out later, which honestly I thought was a really stupid reason, to be honest. But nonetheless, everybody hates him. Some screwed up. He's a low life. He's drunk all the time. But he wears the X-Men. He wears the classic Wolverine suit. And so that was kind of cool. And so he was willing to go because Deadpool kind of promised him that he would make things right in his universe if he helped him out. So he came back. Then they came to the TVA, and he's like, "No, you can't replace Logan. You know, like that's already done." So they basically got mad, and he, the villain, which I already forgot his name, was it Paradox? Something like that. Paradox, I believe.
Yeah.
He was it what is it called? Purged or
Purged, yeah.
Something like that. Pronged them. And so they went into the other world, you know, which
Void.
Again, the void. Wherever, and so this is where most of the movie took place. There were tons of stuff, Easter eggs in this. We saw Asgard, we saw the Guardians of the Galaxy ship. We saw
Dead Ant-Man. Giant
man, dead giant man. There were a lot of X-Men characters. And they basically first they start fighting each other. There's like a Secret Wars comic book too that was on the ground. And then they get surrounded by,
it's like Mad Max.
Ravagers. Yeah, kind of mad. Yeah, and Toad was there. He's a different Toad, but he's from X-Men. I can't remember. Was it X-Men First Class? Something like that? I gotta rewatch those too, honestly. I haven't watched those in a while.
I thought actually it was the original X-Men, or maybe the second or third.
I don't remember.
I thought it was one of the originals Toad's in.
Okay. Nightcrawler's dad was in there. And then the original Sabretooth from X-Men. And so he showed up and they fought, and Wolverine sliced his head off, which was pretty crazy.
It was cool, but I was a little disappointed we didn't get a little bit more of a fight there.
Yeah, but again, it's like it's just all a meme. It's one giant meme, essentially. Which a lot of people were hyping up, like, oh, there's some cool cameos. It's like No Way Home. Not really. There were a lot of fun cameos, but it did not have the same payoffs that No Way Home did. And No Way Home accomplished two things. One, it made people actually like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and appreciate Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man more. And it also gave closure to both of those characters, plus some of their villains as well, you know, that they didn't actually get in their own series because they didn't actually finish their series. So they actually got closure through that. So it did more than just have cameos, you know, it had an actual impact on them. This, not really, you know, other than Wolverine and Deadpool, but nobody else really had closure or anything, you know. But yeah, so he kills Sabretooth. Then we hear this familiar voice. I'm like, oh, it's Chris Evans. That sounds like Chris Evans. And so they're like, he's wearing this hood, and then he takes it off, and he, you know, everyone's like, whoa, it's Chris Evans. And I'm like, I texted Nick, and I'm like, that's he's the Human Torch for sure. I knew they were gonna be like, oh, it's Captain America. They're gonna go that way, and then Deadpool starts saying,
his arm.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna say it, Avengers Assemble, Avengers Assemble. And then he's like, flame on! And then he turns into the Human Torch. And then he gets, I don't remember which mutant it is, but one who can steal fire, which I don't really remember. Is he from
Pyro something, maybe?
Yeah.
He might be a variant of one of the original X-Men villains. Oh, gosh. I don't know.
I don't really remember him, but he can basically absorb fire. And he took all of Human Torch's flame. So he was like flameless. And it was kind of funny because Human Torch is cool, but he's kind of a derp, you know. Especially Chris Evans' Human Torch.
Yeah, which if you kind of thought about it, would give away the fact that he wasn't Captain America and he was Johnny Storm just because of his character was more
Yeah.
of a
Well,
douchey guy than a
they
respectable guy.
tried to what's the word, kind of deceive you, I guess, by having him have like Captain America's, well, not even Captain, I guess it was dark hair. Yeah, it was dark hair. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
what am I talking about? Captain America has blonde hair too.
Yeah, he had, like, blue sleeves and, like, with white bandages or
Yeah,
something.
but so does Johnny Storm, you know.
True. Yeah.
But you could kind of see the Fantastic Four logo a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, he was brunette, so that was it. I mean, I guess it's just like a variant or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had Human Torch, which was fun. And they all basically get captured by these Ravagers who are bringing them to a villain, the main villain of the Void. And they see the big smoke monster dude. And he's like, "Oh, that's what's his face from Loki, season 1, episode 5." I couldn't tell if they were like being like, "Oh, that's cool," or like, "This, look how stupid this is," you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I laughed though because it was just the line delivery was funny, but
Yeah.
um,
It was a break the fourth wall line, which I decided to take it that way too, rather than
yeah,
oh, like, look how cool this character is that we're calling back to. It's
yeah,
like, no, it's a dumb character that
yeah.
Deadpool's making fun of.
Mhm. Yeah, so basically they're talking about like who are, I guess they were talking about who are they taking us to? Oh boy, here he is.
Oh
Hey.
boy.
The Flash. Do you care about spoilers for Deadpool?
Kind of, but it's fine. I don't want to interrupt your flow. That's fine. I'm sure I'll find. I know multiple ones like Henry
Okay.
Cavill's in it,
Yep.
and Channing Tatum.
Yes, Channing Tatum is
Word.
finally Gambit, which apparently has been 10 years in the making. He's been wanting.
I
to
saw
play
the yeah.
years.
I saw the
Yeah.
post.
Spoilers. He kind of sucks.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's not. Okay, here's the thing about Gambit. Gambit is supposed to be really tall, slender, cool, you know, laid back. Channing Tatum is not that character at all. He's kind of chubby. He's got to get a square face, you know.
He's chubby now.
Well, he's more muscular.
He looks
than
pretty
okay.
chubby in the
slender.
movie. The costume, although very comic book accurate, didn't
Not
look
good.
great live
Yeah.
action. But it was cool nonetheless to see Gambit, I thought.
Did you actually see him in action?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. He got his playing cards out, he got his staff, he was doing all the things. It was fun. So but yeah, so basically they're talking about this villain who turns out to be Cassandra Nova, who, if you are familiar with the comics, she is Professor X's sister. And they fought each other in the womb, actually. I think they were twins. They fought each other in the womb, and he forgot about her, but she never forgot about him. And so she kind of became a villain. And in the new X-Men series run with Grant Morrison, she's kind of the main villain, and she incapacitates Professor X and actually I think takes over his mind or something. She might even take over his body and like kind of restore it. It's been a while since I've read it, but she's a pretty cool villain, and she actually did a really good job. The actress did pretty good. I didn't have really any complaints about her at all.
Yeah, the only thing was like she was so skinny, like, and I know her superpower is the telepathic ability, so she doesn't really have to worry about fighting. But I was just thinking, like, oh my gosh, she would snap like a twig, like if anybody was able to get a hold of her.
That is how she looks though in the comics. So,
Sure. Yeah.
Unlike freaking Black Pantheress, who's
Yeah.
literally a twig, and she's somehow supposed to be.
Yeah. Hey, she's kind of base though, so don't knock her too hard.
Yeah, I mean, she was in a Angel Studios movie recently, I think.
Yep. And didn't
yeah.
apologize for it either.
No, she's a Christian, but it's not about her. It's about
Right.
the character. You
Yeah.
know, it's about Marvel,
Yeah.
and the fact that they're replacing frickin' what's his face in Captain African American New World Order, General Ross with Harrison Ford, who doesn't give a f about anything. So
Yeah,
one of the worst people you probably could have picked for this. As General Ross, but they wouldn't recast Black Panther.
You know
but
that
they
there's
would.
Yeah.
But they would use his death to sell a whole movie. You know. They're despicable. Yeah.
Not
Marvel Disney's awful. But anyway, so yeah, she was fine. But basically Human Torch was making fun of her the entire time, or basically saying how bad she was. And as soon as they got there, Deadpool just started spilling the beans like, oh yeah, he was just explaining about you. He's like, what are you talking about? No, I didn't. And then she literally rips the skin and organs off of him in an instant.
Or just the
skin. Wait, which Human Torch is this? Is this Chris Evans' Human Torch?
Yeah, Chris Evans' Human Torch. Yeah.
Oh wow, they went like deep into the cameos.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like I was saying before you jumped on, the cameos didn't really mean a lot in this. A lot of people are trying to compare it to No Way Home, but it's like they were cool cameos. They were great, and I didn't dislike any of the cameos, but they didn't really have much meaning to them. And you can't really compare it to No Way Home because No Way Home had brought closure to Toby and Andrew's character, and actually made people like them more than they did, especially Andrew. You know.
You know, Andrew's supposed to be in the next Venom movie or something like that.
Yeah. That wouldn't be surprised.
Spider-Man's supposed to show up.
Yep, I wouldn't be surprised. Toby's he's too old at this point.
Yeah. He got his ride off into the sunset moment, you know.
Yep. So Andrew deserves another one probably, even though it's gonna suck, I'm sure, but you know, why not? But yeah, so they show up to the Ant-Man thingy and they're trying to get away, and basically I think that they escape essentially, and they're wandering in the void, the wasteland of the void, and they run into a Deadpool, a dog. They run into Dogpool, who's this little tiny scrappy chihuahua,
little kick dog you've ever seen.
And of course, Deadpool falls in love with him, all this stuff, and then we find his owner running, who's Nice Pool, and it's a very Canadian Ryan Reynolds with long hair, and he doesn't wear a mask, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that," and he's like all nice and everything. And he's like, "Sorry about that. Can I have my dog back, please?" And Ryan Reynolds or Deadpool essentially doesn't like him instantly because he's way too nice and all this stuff, and but they need like help. They need a way of transportation. I forget exactly what they're trying to do. I guess they're just trying to escape, right? I their intentions were at this point, but
oh yeah, you're right. What were they trying to do? Because they were trying to they knew that
Cassandra was the way to get out.
Right, she had a way to get out. They didn't know what.
Escaped her, so they must have been trying to find an army. Maybe was it trying to get help? Maybe to fight back. I think that was what happened, but it's kind of a blur.
Oh yeah, they were trying to find Blade and Gambit, but they didn't know that it was Blade and Gambit. Well,
I don't think they knew who they were trying to find, but
yeah, they were trying to find somebody. Yeah.
So anyways,
they had Wesley Snipes' Blade in this movie too?
We're dropping lots of spoilers here. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh my god! Like, was everybody?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it in a second. Okay, so I forgot to mention also earlier. I won't spoil. There were a bunch of comic book references to Wolverines, but I remember one of the other Wolverine variants that we saw was a Wolverine fighting the Hulk, but they didn't actually show the fight, which was stupid. I was like, come on, guys, you have the opportunity to show one of the most iconic. The introduction of Wolverine in the comics was fighting the Hulk, and it's one of the most iconic covers of him putting his claws into the Hulk's head. And we didn't get to see that. That would have been awesome, but we didn't. But anyways, they basically show the Hulk looming over Deadpool in that scene. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, so Nice Pool has a Honda Odyssey, which I thought was hilarious. And they're like, "Oh, here you go, you can have it." And they were talking about how reliable Hondas were. It's just like, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's like a Honda commercial.
Yeah.
I support that.
Yeah. And then so they're just driving, and Deadpool's making Spider-Man noises. Pew, 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 pew. He's like, "Stop it." Which I thought was fun. Hopefully a tease for something in the future. And basically they get into an argument because Wolverine finds out that he actually just made an educated wish, he calls it, that he would save Wolverine's universe. So Wolverine just goes off on him. Logan's pissed off. He starts nailing him with all these like truths, essentially, that like you're useless. You couldn't even save your relationship with a hooker, which was hilarious. And Deadpool was pissed, and so he's like, "I'm gonna fight you right now." So they start fighting, and they just they just destroyed the van. But it was so funny because they're just like going like all in. They're just ripping each other apart, stabbing each other in the head, ripping chunks of their bodies off. They break his arm, and he snaps it back into place. Just like
both immortal.
Yeah, not holding back at all because of their healing factors. So they basically fight till nightfall, and then it just shows like the van is just like destroyed and it's a bloody mess, and they're just like laying all Family Guy style. And then you see somebody's boots walk up and get in the car and start driving. And then they wake up, or Deadpool, we get from Deadpool's perspective, they wake up in this
cave
kind of, yeah. And Logan's drinking, and then somebody walks in, and it's Elektra, Jennifer Garner Elektra from
that's who it was. Jennifer Garner.
Daredevil.
Who is that? Yeah.
They did not show Daredevil, which was a shame. Ben Affleck Daredevil, that would have been fun. But they did say he apparently died in the void, I guess, or at some, I don't know if it was in world or in the void somewhere. Apparently he died. But yeah, so that was cool. But then we get to see Wesley Snipes' Blade, and I, of course, started clapping like a seal because I couldn't help myself, because it was awesome. I mean, it was so cool, and he looked fantastic. He had like the white goatee, shirtless, or sleeveless, a vest. Fantastic. He didn't have his iconic katana, but he had some cool knives. But yeah, so that was really awesome. Wesley Snipes still looks like a badass even now. He's, I don't know, probably in his 60s, 70s, who knows, but he looks great. And then walked in Gambit, Channing Tatum Gambit, which is also kind of a meme. It's like it's kind of like John Krasinski, Mr. Fantastic before John Krasinski, like that type of fan casting, but it was obviously way earlier. Unlike John Krasinski, Mr. Fantastic, he did not play it as well, but at least he lasted a lot longer.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was feeling like it was gonna be another moment like that.
Yeah,
where they, yeah.
So died. I don't think any of them died, right? Actually,
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. So we got eventually, they get to the final fight, and we get to see them all fight. It was actually really awesome. It was really
and
cool.
you forgot about what's her name?
But yeah, before I get to that, yeah, X-23, an older teenage X-23 walks in, and she was actually pretty great. I'm like, just seeing her in the Acolyte, I was like, oh no, but she was pretty good. Actually, she was not insufferable, as I thought she would be.
Well, she was basically like the little girl version of Wolverine. So it's like if you love the character of Wolverine, like she did good.
Yeah. And she kind of treats him like a father, and she had basically at some point there he's sitting by a fire, and he's brooding because he hates his life and he feels useless, and she is trying to talk to him, and he's like, I'm not the guy, the classic, I'm not the guy, and she's like, you never were. So in the trailer she says you never were until you were. You never were until you weren't. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but basically saying you were never the guy until you were,
Right.
But they cut the last part of the line off in the movie, and I was like, wait, what? That's the most important part. You can't just say you never were and then walks away. That just makes him more of a piece of shit.
Okay.
But then later in the movie, he's like, I don't know, reliving memories, and they play that audio clip again, but then they play the whole thing. It's like, was that an editing error? Did they just forget to leave
put it
that
past
part in?
them?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't either, but like, it was just bizarre. If it was purposeful, bizarre choice, but I'm assuming it was a mistake because they put it in the trailer. So, and it's funny, a lot of the things that were in the trailer actually were in the movie too. Usually that doesn't happen with Marvel movies, especially, but they did do it there. But yeah, so basically they're making a plan, and this is the part where he's like, I thought you were retired to Blade, and he's like, retarded. He's like, no, retired. So that was funny.
Only Wesley Snipes can get away with saying that.
I know, but that was great. That was fantastic. I was like, we're so back. But yeah, so basically they make a plan. They're gonna go fight Cassandra and all those people, and then they're driving, and I guess that was that point. X-23 basically convinces Wolverine to come because he was like, I'm not going. But eventually, just they show him driving towards the dead giant man, and honestly, it looked pretty awesome. Just all of them, even though it was a Honda Odyssey, they looked dope in the car. And I was wondering if Deadpool's head would get blown off because he was like popping out of the moonroof.
I thought they were gonna kill Wesley Snipes there because he was sticking his body out too with the bazooka. But they didn't.
Dang it, we don't have a mod. Yeah. So, anyways,
hey, we can get viewers, guys, for cheap.
I know.
That seems legit.
That seems so legit. Thank you, Yeet Big Bo. How about you go yeet yourself out of here? Yeah. So they drive, and it actually is a pretty cool shot. But basically, how do they open?
They blow. They use the bazooka.
Blow the hands open. Oh, they have a bazooka. That's right. Yeah. So they blow the hands open, and then they're all fighting, and it's a pretty cool fight. We get to see some awesome Blade just destroying people again. Gambit blowing people up with his magic. Elektra's doing her thing. X-23's going berserk, screaming. And then I really liked that part. It was just fun to watch. And then Deadpool and Wolverine go up to find Cassandra, and they need to take Juggernaut, who's there. It's the original Juggernaut, unfortunately, not the cool Juggernaut from Deadpool 2. They have to use Juggernaut's helmet to basically put it on her to block her telekinesis. And they eventually get it on through Deadpool's knocked out, and then X-23 is supposed to throw the helmet up, but at that point, Cassandra Nova sticks her. She does this a lot in the movie. She could stick her hands inside people's head, and it's kind of creepy and gross. But she
through their face.
Yeah, through their face, and it's coming out of their eye socket and their nose. The fingers are coming out of the nose. It's really weird. Cool editing though. It looked very real.
It's like Davy Jones when he sticks his
yeah,
nut.
right. But basically she's sticking her finger inside Wolverine's mind, and she's trying to like,
convince him.
Yeah. But he's like playing along with it until he's like not, the classic twist moment. And then Deadpool plops the helmet on her, and then she's useless. But then some dude comes up and screws it up.
It's the pyro guy.
Yeah, the pyro guy. But I can't remember. For some reason, they have to take the helmet off because...
because the pyro guy shoots her.
Oh, and she's going to die unless she takes the thing. That's right. So she's going to die unless she takes the helmet off so she can heal herself. But she's like, if you take the helmet off, I'm going to kill you. And like, they basically take the chance. And
she uses Dr.
somehow,
Strange.
Yeah, but I forget why, but basically she lets them go. And I think it's because he convinces her that Professor X, that Charles Xavier, would actually love her if he knew about her.
Yeah, which I didn't like that part of the whole story and plot. Not because, like, in and of itself, that's great. Like, okay, yeah, like there's a chance for redemption there. But then she kind of just throws it all out the window. It's like she helps them. You're like, oh, okay, she is convinced, but then she's not.
Yeah, right. Then that's true. But that's it. That's like the last we see of Blade and Gambit and X-23 and Elektra. So that was kind of a bummer. I was like, that was, kind of weird. Didn't really give much ending to those characters, but so they use the sling ring that they have, that she gives them, to jump out of the void and back into the real world. So they get back. But then she comes to the real world and she's like, psych. Actually, I'm going to take over all the multiverse, and I'm going to make all the multiverse basically disappear into the void. And so, but then she grabs the Paradox guy and she's like she basically gets to the MacGuffin machine, and that MacGuffin machine, I guess, can channel her energy into all the multiverse. I don't really know. It's all mumbo jumbo, and they kind of made it that way. It's like they didn't really explain it. But
I feel like that's a common theme with them in the multiverse, right? Like they explain enough 100%. That you fill in the blanks on your own, however you want.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this all makes sense. Yeah.
Right. So before they can pursue her, though, a bunch of Deadpool variants come out, including, and this part was in the trailer, including Lady Pool, who it is confirmed was played by
Blake Lively.
That was in the credits. But she never actually took her mask off. So
interesting.
I don't know if there's going to be like a director's cut of this that's like, they usually do unrated versions of Deadpool, I'm pretty sure.
Snyder cut.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'll show her face, but they didn't in the movie. So they show a bunch of different Deadpool variants. So we get Gunslinger Deadpool. We get Headpool, who's like just a floating head skull.
There's I don't know if you would have caught this one, but the Welsh Deadpool is actually tied to his Wrexham FC football club that he partially owns.
Yeah.
It was actually a player. Cool. It was like one of the star players on the club played that character. Yeah.
That's funny.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. I noticed the Welsh flag. I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's a Welsh pool.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one with the dragon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and apparently Tom Holland's younger brother was one of the Deadpools, and Ryan Reynolds didn't know about it right away until like way after the movie was done. So then all the Deadpools attack him, and Nice Pool's there. So he puts Nice Pool in front of him. He's like, when are you going to regenerate? He's like, you guys can regenerate? He's like, oh no. And so Nice Pool is dying. And so he's like, I need to make it to the other side so we can get you some medicine. And so he puts him as a human shield, and they're all shooting him, and there's like nothing left of Nice Pool. Nice Pool is gone. And Wolverine walks over with The dog pool. He's like, you wouldn't kill it. They're all like, whoa, stop. They're like, not going to shoot him. And he walks. That was kind of funny. And so then they're like, Nice Pool had these golden desert eagles that Deadpool kept looking at the entire movie. He's like, dang, those are nice. So he took them off the dead body. He's like, all right, let's do this. And so they walk out, and this was the shot from the trailer, the two of them strolling out. And then we get the awesome moment. He pulls the mask over. And he's like, you had that this whole time? So we got the mask over, yeah. Wolverine pulled the cool mask over it. So that was awesome. That was really cool. And then they just go, they go ham, and they start slaughtering all the Deadpool variants, which I was like, how do you, like, I get Wolverine could kill all of them, but how does our Deadpool happen to be the one that survives versus all these other Deadpools? And how does Wolverine keep him up separate from everybody else?
Yeah, there was a couple of times I lost track of.
Oh yeah, I lost track of him for sure, and I was like, well, he's killing a Deadpool, so I assume it's him.
Yeah.
But basically, they
how
kill.
Would he even kill himself? Like, I don't get. Do they not all have the regenerative ability?
Here's the thing. So they think they kill everybody, and this was again the shot. They're like going through a bus full of Deadpools, and they're just killing everybody inside. And then they jump out the back, and that was the cool moment. Wolverine's jumping, doing the classic Wolverine. It was awesome. It was so cool. But then they finish, and then they hear, and they're all coming back to life. You know, they're all regenerating. Right. So they're all alive again. And then Steve Pool comes to the rescue out of the. Was he come? He just came out of nowhere on a moped.
Yeah.
And he was in a Deadpool costume, and his huge balls,
giant balls,
giant nuts. And they just show him, and then he's got a big fat belly, and it's like the costume's kind of splitting open, and the belly. It was hilarious. But they're like, "Oh, Steve!"
God, why are the Deadpools trying to kill him anyways?
Because they all work for Cassandra.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
There's more Deadpool variants than anything else in the Void, apparently.
Got it. Okay.
Because he causes the most trouble, you know.
Well, of course. And I'm assuming the Void is where people go when they're pruned from the timeline.
That's pruned.
Got
it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Did you watch Loki?
I've got like 2 episodes left or something. 2 or 3.
Don't bother finishing it.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of why I haven't finished it. Okay. So when you get pruned, you go to the Void. Got it.
Yep.
That is a classic example, I think, of Mumbo Jumbo, the end of Loki season 2.
100%. It's like, the whole thing was Mumbo Jumbo. It was so dumb. Gosh, that was so stupid.
Hey, RDJ is going to come back and fix everything, guys.
Right. And we'll get to that soon. But yeah, basically, they all like, oh, it's Steve. All right. He's like, they're with me. You know, stupid, dumb reason. But whatever. We accepted it. Then they're like, all right, the only way you can beat Cassandra now at this point is if you go underground and you act as basically like a human bridge between these 2 energy sources, and that'll like circuit what's the word I'm looking for?
Short circuit
the whole thing.
Ground, either or. Yeah.
It's matter and antimatter coming together.
Bunch of comic book terms that okay, you guys are dumb. So they're going downstairs, and Wolverine's like, I need to be the one that does this because we're not going to be able to survive this, which I didn't really understand. They're like, you're going to be atomized. And it's like, okay, but Wolverine did regenerate from an atom in the comics, so he could do it. But whatever. For the sake of this, I guess we'll say he can't. So he's like, you have a life to go back to. You know, I have nothing now. And I forgot to say, we found out the reason, his backstory, the tragic thing was he went to the bar and got slammed, hammered, and all the X-Men got killed while he was at the bar getting sloshed. And he comes back and they're all gone. I don't know if it was saying that he killed them.
I think he walked away. Like, he heard them dying and he walked away.
I guess so. He wasn't there to save them, but it's like,
yeah, okay. I thought that was a line from the one of the trailers where he's like, I wasn't there for them when they needed me or something like that.
Right. But it was a dumb reason. He was at the bar. Like, that was the reason. So it's like, okay, whatever. But basically, yeah, he's like, I got nothing left. I got nothing to return to. I should be the one to die. And Deadpool agrees, but then he pulls a fast one on him and like goes into the room and locks the door. And Wolverine's like, what are you doing? Classic. And he made a bunch of funny references. One of them was the Spock's death in
Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of Khan.
Into Darkness.
No, Wrath of Khan.
Oh, okay. Wrath of Khan, and then also Into Darkness.
Screw Into Darkness. Into Darkness. Terrible. Wrath of Khan, which was when Spock died, and he puts his hand on the window, and he does that reference basically. That was funny. But he's like, he keeps being like, "Bye, friend," and then he like leaves, and then comes back to the window and does something else, and he keeps doing it. Classic, Deadpool stuff. And then so he's trying. He sticks his hand into the one energy source, and he's trying to reach the other, but he can't quite reach it. And then of course Wolverine breaks in the door open, he sticks his claws into the thing and then holds Deadpool's hand, and it like blows his shirt off. Hugh Jackman like ripped, sweaty body. So they're holding it, and then it's like at this point they like basically overloaded the thing, right? But it's like, couldn't Cassandra Nova just let go, or was she like being electrocuted to it? I don't really know, but it's like, couldn't she just leave?
Like, she didn't know what was happening, so she was like, I'll just keep holding on until I overpower.
Until I die. Yeah, like it was bizarre. It was
like the little bar was like going back and forth.
Yeah, it was like
who's gonna win?
Like fishing in Stardew Valley if you play that. So basically, like the world started disappearing, like in Loki season 2. Everything became spaghetti, but then it all started reforming again, and then she blew up. I was like, okay, this is stupid. I'm sorry, that was a dumb ending for her, but whatever. It's a Deadpool movie, and they're like, Paradox basically he's been doing a bunch of bad stuff, creating this whole machine and everything. He gets in trouble by Miss Security Guard, Black Girl Magic. TVA girl, and she's there to arrest him, but he's like, no, I was doing the right thing, and 2 brave men died to save the world, and they're down like and then they basically come back and they're like, what, you guys are still alive? And essentially it's like, yeah, well, there were 2 of us, so we didn't die, we shared the load, all that stuff.
Share the load.
So they survive, and they're the heroes. They save the day. Wolverine is basically like, I'm gonna go back to my world. They eat shawarma. That was funny. They made a shawarma reference, and Deadpool was like, people didn't know about shawarma until the Avengers ate shawarma. I was like, that's kind of true, actually. So they have their shawarma moment after saving the world, and then Wolverine's about to go back to his world, and he's like, hey, you should come back to mine. So he's like, oh, sure. So they go back. They go to the world. X-23 comes with, I think they save X-23. And so she's reunited with Logan, and then Vanessa and him have a reuniting moment, blah, 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 blah. The end. So nothing.
You're not a loser anymore, so I guess I like you now.
So I guess I'll get it. Well,
wait, so Deadpool is
you unless you know who you are. It was essentially one of those things. It's like,
oh gosh,
I don't know.
That's like so out of character for them too. Whatever, maybe there's obviously a backstory I'm missing.
It was Disney-fied for sure.
Right. So is Deadpool confirmed in our MCU universe?
No, they didn't confirm anything.
Okay.
It was kind of it was its own film. It doesn't have anything to do with the MCU overall. Doesn't really have an impact.
So there weren't any cameos happening. There weren't any cameos from current MCU characters.
No.
Okay.
John Favreau. That was.
Happy Hogan. He did want to join the Avengers, and Happy's like, yeah, we don't. He said something about we, and he's like, we? I didn't know you were an Avenger. And he's like,
weren't you a chauffeur?
Aren't you a chauffeur? Well,
and Happy's like, I found my place, you'll find yours.
And that was a fun scene because there was a lot of, they were like in his Happy's office, and there was a bunch of, MCU memorabilia around there.
Yeah.
Shows Tony Stark has a heart. Proof that Tony Stark has a heart was there.
The weird like metal thing, whatever that was from the second movie.
The Captain America shield, you mean?
No, the metal thing that kept like going around. It was behind him on his desk behind him. It was the thing that
that Pepper that he hit on Pepper's desk when he was annoyed.
Yeah, he wasn't listening. He was playing with it, and Pepper said like stop playing with it or whatever.
Yeah, he messed it up on purpose. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, and it showed the heart or the fake Captain America shield that he used in Iron Man 2, I believe, when he was creating the new arc reactor.
Right.
To like hold up the pipe, he shoved it under there.
Yeah.
That was in there. There's a bunch of other stuff in there, but yeah, that was fun. But yeah, nothing really significant. The end credit scene was him. It was a dumb payoff joke from earlier in the movie about the Human Torch. So there was nothing really
connecting it to the greater MCU.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously, he's probably going to come in at some point.
Right.
So yeah, for that, I'd give it a 7. It was fun. I enjoyed it, but I'm not gonna praise it or anything. So,
would you give No Way Home?
I don't really remember, but I like No Way Home. I'd probably say now, if I'm rating it now, I'd probably give it a, I don't know,
8.5.
8 maybe. I mean, I don't want to give 9s and 10s out very easily.
Right. Well, of course, yeah.
But I'd say it was 7.5 to 8, somewhere in there.
I would say the only 10 off the top of my head, the only 10s I can give out for sure is Iron Man 1. I think Infinity War has to get a 10.
I'd say 9. I'd give them 9s. I'd give them 9s. I mean, think about
Iron
all the
Man.
movies.
But Iron Man. Look, Iron Man will always hold a special place in my heart.
I love Iron Man.
I give that one a 10.
But like, I don't know if it's a 10 as a movie itself. I love
as an MCU movie.
Sure, but that's not. Yeah. I'm not really rating based off of that alone. I'm rating overall as a movie.
Yeah.
10s are like Lord of the Rings. That's like
yeah, for sure. I'm saying 10s in the
Indiana
MCU.
Jones. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, if that's in that case, No Way Home's probably a 9 for MCU,
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. But yeah, Zach, I don't know if you've seen this meme. They recreated the Wolverine meme.
Oh yeah, I saw that on Twitter. It's good.
Yeah, pretty good. So yeah, we got a bunch of news. First of all, Superman's happening next July, so yay, I guess. But Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to the MCU as Dr.
The Marvel
Doom.
multi-universe.
You guys hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
By the way, that's the Russo brothers. They're really trying hard right now to grab our attention again. They're bringing back the Russo brothers. First of all, they replaced King Dynasty. That's not happening for obvious reasons, but they've swept that under the rug.
Yeah, I was going to say they just completely thrown King to the wolves, right?
Yeah, nobody, yeah, nothing about it. Didn't make a statement. It's just gone. And now it's Avengers Doomsday. And a bunch of Dr. Doom acolytes came out. So they're doing Doomsday and Secret Wars, and they're both being directed by the Russo brothers. Obviously, we got to get our fans back. And this is who they announced as playing Dr. Doom. They said nobody else could play Dr. Doom, which I thought was weird. and they all went, classic. Don't get me wrong, I love Robert Downey Jr., but
yeah, it'll just depend on what storyline they do, right? Because there are the 2 storylines from the comics where
they're doing Secret Wars though.
Right. So, well, I'm saying there's 2 specific storylines from the comic books where Iron Man and Doctor Doom interact specifically. Right. Yes. One where Doctor Doom and Iron Man, or Doctor Doom forces Tony Stark's. They swap bodies basically.
Right. He becomes Iron Man. Yeah.
Yep. And then what's the other one? Iron Man willingly takes on the mantle of Doctor Doom.
I don't know about that, but I know in Secret Wars they interact, and that's kind of where we're going. So I assume it's something related to that. But he's supposed to show up in Fantastic Four, which Neurotic did say actually looks pretty good. They didn't show female Silver Surfer, but he actually said it looks good. It's basically a 60s. Futuristic 60s take on the Fantastic Four.
I'm interested in how they do that. That could be okay.
It could be okay. Yeah, it might actually be okay.
The marketing tones look cool. I'll give them that. Like their logo that they released and like the color palette looks kind of cool.
The only problem again is, there's 2 problems. Silver Surfer, they're just destroying that character, which is a shame. And of course you got Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. It's gonna be so weird.
Just what happened to the King Dynasty? Yeah, so there's Doomsday and there's Avengers Secret Wars. So they're really trying. I don't take this as a I'm not excited, I'm obviously RDJ is great, but a lot of people are like, everybody deserves a second chance. They're posting pictures with Chris Evans, Flaming Torch, or Human Torch, and Captain America. Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern, Deadpool, all these different characters that got and then they showed Iron Man and Doctor Doom. I'm like, what are you talking about? RDJ was made for Iron Man. that's
not really like second chance territory for RDJ. No, he killed it as Iron Man.
Right.
And then somebody commented, they're like, this is a second chance for Marvel, not for
exactly.
So we got that. We also found out the Celestial in the middle of the ocean's finally been acknowledged. It's a source of adamantium, apparently.
Oh.
And that's from Captain America Brave New World. We're gonna find that out.
Of course.
So stupid. So that just basically makes adamantium a almost unlimited resource.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Unless they MacGuffin it by saying it's only in certain parts, or it's a chance it spawns in it, kind of thing.
Right. So yeah, his shield's made. What's vibranium? That's from Wakanda, but yeah, adamantium, I guess.
What is the differences between the two? Adamantium doesn't have the energy dissipation aspect, correct?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. But yeah, I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Get that garbage off the screen.
Yeah, so another announcement. They showed a little clip from Batman Caped Crusader, which we won't watch because it's Warner Bros. But the Penguin is a woman, and her name is Oswalda Cobblepot. And Minnie Driver, she's Chris Evans' girlfriend, right?
No idea.
I'm not sure.
Oh, maybe not. Never mind.
I don't know who that is.
No, I don't even really know who that is. But yeah, that's the still shot we got. Yay. This is a joke, right?
Is her name Karen? Is that her like alter ego?
No. Yeah, so we got that announcement. James Gunn Superman. I think there were some other ones. Yeah, so this is the promotional art.
Yeah, I really like that promotional art.
Yeah, I'm excited for these 3 at least. Not him. He can go suck it. But she's perfect for Sue Storm.
Yeah, she's a good actress.
What's his name again?
Is that Glenn Powell?
No, it's Eddie from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's gonna be great.
He looks so different without the wig.
Oh, actually, I know.
Glenn Powell could have been a good Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
But...
Dude, Glenn Powell is Hollywood heartthrob right now.
Yeah. I don't think he would be Johnny Storm, but he's a little too old. Not old. Well, I don't know. He looks too old for Johnny Storm, I think. But
you know,
he'd be a great Hal Jordan Green Lantern, I think.
Yeah.
That's a good fan cast. Apparently, Glenn Powell auditioned for the role of Rooster in Top Gun Maverick, which was Miles Teller's character.
Yeah.
And he didn't get it, obviously. And then Tom Cruise basically had to talk him into joining the movie in the role that he ended up in. And Tom Cruise was basically like, dude, like, you want to be a part of a movie, even if it's not necessarily the role that you wanted, but like, I'm telling you, this movie is going to like completely kickstart your career. And Tom Cruise is obviously very correct on that because he's in everything now.
Yeah, I haven't seen Twisters. I've heard that it's not fantastic, but they said the director said he's not making it political at all, which is great. He's like, it's just a fun movie, you know. It's nothing political.
I mean, the original Twisters isn't that great either, but there's those, you know, doomsday cult classic movies. Like, that's just that style.
Yeah. I've never seen Twister, to be honest, but
it's one of my wife's favorite movies. So
yeah. So yeah, those are kind of the big announcements, but they're really trying. They're really trying right now, and they did show Harrison Ford and he's
hobbling up there.
Dude's got to be on drugs. I mean, watch this interaction here.
It's like Joe Biden.
What the heck?
That's more excitement than he ever showed for Star Wars.
Yeah. He's really trying.
I don't get why he hated Star Wars so much.
Yeah, I just love who shot first? Han or Guido? I don't care.
Hey Harrison, you've actually you've played a U.S. president before. What makes that?
Get off my plane.
Classic.
Thaddeus Ross different? And did you really just not want to grow a mustache?
That is exactly what happened, actually.
Yes, 100% what happened.
He did not want to grow a mustache.
I know. I would have grown a mustache if I'd been asked. That's Harrison Ford! Tell Tom Holland I got fucking Harrison Ford!
What?
He's always slamming on Tom Holland.
Yeah.
That's kind of their whole meme. But what is he doing? What is happening?
It's so weird.
What is happening?
Gosh, they're so out of touch.
Yep. The out of touch is definitely the word.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill had I think he had a panel, but yeah, they should all just stop and just go away.
Yeah.
But yeah, Harrison Ford, he's ancient. He's elderly.
Apparently he'll Red Hulk out on the White House lawn in the movie.
Yeah, I mean that's in the trailer, kind of.
The shield, yeah.
And he destroys part of the White House. It looked like. It's so dumb. My favorite line though from that trailer is, "You're not Steve Rogers." No.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. Bring him back.
And everyone agrees.
Yeah. The only time I'll ever request Chris Evans on screen.
Right.
Yeah. it's rough, and Harrison Ford's not going to save it. RDJ's not going to save it.
Good writing is the only thing that can actually save it,
which is unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's kind of the big news there. Go see Deadpool. It was pretty good. I'll probably go see it again eventually, maybe.
I'm gonna try to go next week. I'll be up in Arlington. Have a chance to probably go catch a evening show or something.
Mm-hmm. And watch Hot D. It's fantastic. It's almost done, so you can binge it. I might actually rewatch it. Not soon, but semi-soon, because I'd like to get it all in the same perspective.
There's only, 1 or 2 episodes left?
1 episode left, yep. It's a shorter season, 8 episodes, so. But yeah, so go check that out.
I feel like I know the general storyline just from Twitter, but I still should watch it.
Lots of dragons. Lots and lots of dragons.
Just the one-eyed kid, he had the biggest dragon, right?
He still does.
Okay, so what Silverwing also very, very large or something too, right?
Silverwing's pretty big. She's not near the size of Vagar. She's probably Drogon size, I would say, maybe.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. Vermithor is the other big dragon, and he's slightly smaller than Vagar, but he's still smaller. But
he just got a rider, right? In episode 7.
Don't spoil that for Nick.
Okay.
He is the most feared dragon. He was written by King Jaehaerys, who was Viserys's father, the king before Viserys. So he is a very, very battle-worn dragon, similar to Vagar. He's not as old as Vagar, but he's up there.
Mm-hmm.
And Vagar was kind of shitting her pants. The Vermithor is pretty fearsome, so.
Okay.
There's not much you can go up against Vagar with, but you can with Vermithor.
Right.
And, a few other dragons. So
no, I saw that scene where Aemon's flying towards Dragon Keep, and then Queen Rhaenyra comes out with her 3 dragons, and Vagar's like, and I'm going to turn around now.
3 of her many dragons at this point.
Right.
But, 2 of her largest, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So far, at least. There's still some to be claimed. So, yeah. Lots of dragons. It's going to be next season's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of dragon fights, hopefully. So,
nice.
I can imagine the budget on that season.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we've only gotten 1 big dragon episode. So, like dragons fighting in this season. But this last episode, it was very dragon heavy. So, lots of dragons in that one. But, yep.
Yeah, I'll have to binge it
so we can talk.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyways, we'll be off next week, and we'll be back in 2 weeks, probably. And at some point we'll be on Morning Mayhem's show, whenever that will be. So
that's fun.
Yeah. But in the meantime, check out our Discord and all the usual stuff. Bluey's not here to plug it all in, but you know where to go. In the link in the description below. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll check you guys out next time. Go check out Cheap Viewers at 19. No,
yeah.
I will be reading that comment. But yeah. Peace out.
See you guys.
Bye.